What is up, sports fans? We are back for another episode of The Fan in the End. I'm your host, as always, Stephen Rychel. And as per usual, the big man next to me, Mr. Big Ben Troupe. And today we're gonna have some fun here. We're gonna be joined by the man below here, Mr. Thomas DiBenedetto. He is one of the founding members of Gridiron Benefits, and obviously we are pro player on this platform. Always about informing people. So first and foremost, Thomas, appreciate your time this afternoon, my friend.
No, likewise. Thank you for having me on, and hopefully we can reach a few people. And if we can help, as we were saying backstage, just one person, that makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like I said, I'll continue to say it on this platform. I don't care how big or how small the interview seems to be. People may not know you yet. The idea is to inform the public as much as we can about some things. I don't act like I have all the answers and know everything. So sometimes I want to learn some things. So obviously, one of the things I want to get to, Thomas, is obviously you don't come from an NFL background initially. You're a former professional baseball player. Obviously, you didn't get your dream to go to exactly where you wanted to, but put us on this path, man. Like, how do you go from being a professional baseball player to being involved in this organization you are in the Gridiron Benefits?
Yeah, no, it's a fair point. You certainly did your research on me. And as you were saying, I was fortunate to be able to continue playing baseball after college. I attended Trinity in Hartford, Connecticut. Had a great experience there, studied economics, and I was drafted by the Red Sox after my senior year, and I was able to play about 3 minor league seasons between the Red Sox and Orioles before I guess they had kind of seen enough of me. And, then at that point, I kind of went down a typical path of a released minor leaguer from affiliated baseball for a year or so. I bounced around a few independent league teams. But in the process, I had actually been contacted uniquely by a baseball club in Italy. Reggio, a small town out of Reggio Emilia. It's in the Emilia-Romagna region of Italy. And kind of when a guy is released from an MLB affiliated organization, names go on a wire, much the same way an NFL release, any of the major sports really. And what they're looking for were Italian last names. My last name, see it on the screen, DiBenedetto, kind of stands out. And long story short, they reached out to me to try to figure out if, one, I'd be interested in going over to Italy to play, but also two, if I had, how deep my Italian roots went. And to sum it up, through my mother's side as well as my father's, both Italian raised, but I was able to get dual citizenship. And that, so I became a European citizen a couple months later, which kind of gave me an advantage to playing over in Europe, because the teams over there, they have some stipulations where you're allowed to have a few dual passport, dual citizens, American born turned European. And before it was all said and done, I ended up playing 4 seasons over in Europe. After one in Heidenheim, Germany, and then 2 in Spain, one in Bilbao, Spain, and then in Valencia. Now, that all kind of took place over the course of 7 to 8 years. Intertwined in that, I worked as a volunteer assistant coach baseball at Georgetown University, and then a couple of years with the Baltimore Orioles, kind of not on the field, as a associate scout, as well as doing some analytical stuff with, if you've heard of TrackMan, it's pretty popular these days in both baseball and golf. But I kind of got involved there early on, and then finished up my playing over in Europe as a player coach, because I kind of at the time thought I wanted to continue coaching. And in the process, I knew in order to be considered for some of the bigger D1 head coaching positions down the road, I needed a master's degree. So at that point, I downloaded the Kaplan study guide over in Germany, and got to relearn an algebra and all that stuff, and applied to the University of Florida Sport Management program. A couple months later, was able to get in. I'm a Florida resident, so that was a kind of a natural fit. And having Ben, I know you got strong Gator ties, but I got to spend a couple of years on campus there, up in Gainesville. Got my degree. I did another year of coaching at Florida Gulf Coast University down in Fort Myers after graduating that program. And that's when I kind of made the switch. Just wasn't getting everything I was looking for out of the coaching. I was trying to replace that competitive edge on the field and just wasn't quite getting there. It was rewarding, but not as much as I was looking for. It didn't kind of replace that drive. And that's when I got involved in what I'm doing now in the NFL disability benefits. And I was fortunate to connect with a group out of Central Florida that had been in this space for a few years, and worked with them for a couple years, kind of learning things. I initially got involved on the line of duty side, which is orthopedic impairments when guys finish playing. And then kind of towards the second part of my time there, I really got involved more in the mental health side, and really getting to connect with players from, anybody that's been out of the league for anywhere between 2 months to, 5 years kind of thing. And really got to hear their stories. And that's really what kind of resonated with me, that, this was something I found rewarding, really enjoying, being able to connect with these guys. Be kind of a 6, 7, 8 month process sometimes, where, you meet with a guy, see what he has kind of going on, what resources, benefits he might be eligible for, what he might be a fit for, kind of help him down that path to, one, get him to a better place mentally, but also, kind of put him in a position too to be able to strengthen that claim for whatever benefits he might be entitled to. And that process, it can take 6 to 8 months, and but when it comes and you get that kind of notification or award letter at the end of it, and you get on a FaceTime with a guy, and he's just just can't express his gratitude in words. It's it really resonated with me. And so it was something that I knew pretty early on that it was something I could see myself doing long term. When I was with that group, it was a terrific experience, but kind of got to a point where there wasn't really a ladder for me to kind of move up. It was also kind of during COVID, where there was a little bit of uncertainty regarding job stability throughout, the entire marketplace. We had moved out of offices, et cetera. So at that point, I knew I loved doing it, that type of work, and kind of made a decision. How can I, expand this, do this, for myself to create some job stability? And at that point, having loved Europe, I actually took a few months, went over to Barcelona, got an Airbnb for a couple of months, lived over there. While I kind of gathered my thoughts, of course, brought my laptop. I went to cafes, having tapas, coffee, a few cervezas, but just kind of getting the back end thoughts in order to try to be able to help guys through a team of my own, and put together a kind of an all-star cast, I would say. With I have a terrific business associate advisor as well. He's a personal injury lawyer in the Florida area, Dean Manuel. We have a former district attorney that helps us with claims, Shannon Laurie, and really we're beyond blessed to have on the orthopedic side a former Miami Dolphin, Yale football All-American, and in both he was a All-American football and All-Ivy baseball player. Rich Diana, he's a running back with a stellar career at Yale, played Don Shula's 1981 Miami Dolphins that went to the Super Bowl. And unfortunately, it might have been 82, but then in 83 in preseason, he had a neck injury that basically at that point he stepped away from the game and knew he had this, biomolecular bio background. And he became an orthopedic surgeon, now has 4 practices up in the New England area. And he's kind of the guy that we run any questions regarding orthopedic claims through. We can call him up, hop on a Zoom or phone call with him, send him records and get his opinion. And really all that comes all together to ensure a guy is not shortchanged when we file their claim. And that's all we're looking for is, guys, one of the most common questions guys will ask is, how many cases do you win? What's your win percentage? And I mean, we don't want to shirk the question. We'll give them the percentage, but at the same time, we got to tell them, look, we're not turning anybody away. We're not cherry picking claims. If you don't have enough injuries, you're just not going to get there. But what we can make sure with our team in place is you're not going to be shortchanged on your claim. You're not going to be shortchanged without getting too much into the benefit. Ben, you probably know, but there's an impairment points, and to put in perspective, an ACL injury only gets you about 45% of the way to the threshold you need to qualify. So we got to find, every injury in there. Oftentimes there's 1,500, 2,000 pages of medical records that require filtering through. And if you just think about it from a doctor's standpoint, where if you're evaluating a claim and somebody submits 2,000 pages worth of paperwork, you're not going to go through it in the player's best interest. So that's really where we come in, especially on the orthopedic side. We'll filter through all those medical records, ensure we're submitting kind of a Cliff Notes version, accentuate it, make sure that prepare the player for some different nuances that unless you really read the fine print, you wouldn't know are necessary. And unfortunately, that's kind of the reality. You might have, I know I'm kind of rolling on here, but you might have seen last year, Wes Welker. Kind of made headlines. He had applied for line of duty disability. And basically, I mean, the guy should have been awarded this thing with, just signing his name, quite honestly. But in the letter, the doctor said there wasn't an NFL causation, right? So one of the things, you have to be able to link the injury to an event on the field or in a team associated event. And just little things like that. I do believe what Mr. Welker was able to eventually get that kind of cleaned up, but with little things like that, unless you look into the super fine print, you just don't know what's necessary and what the NFL benefit plan office unfortunately requires for that criteria to meet it. So anyways, after that, after Barcelona, I came back in the fall of 2021 and officially launched Gridiron Benefits. And we've been focused on helping guys get to a better place ever since.
The one thing, Thomas, that I don't think you understand you doing, which I'm pretty sure you do, is the hardest thing for most players, being a former player myself, is one is awareness. You don't know that it's out there. That's the first thing. And the thing about it is the line of duty, then you got total and permanent, then you got neurocognitive. I mean, you got a lot of stuff. But players, the one thing players need to know, people like yourself, you are our representation. Because players, this is what players do. We think, all right, I'm done with the NFL. I know nothing about the next step. There is no such thing as what do you do when you retire. There is no retirement 10-point plan that you check off. It'll be 5 years and 1 day. And they'll say, hey, dude, how long you been out? I've been out 5 years. Oh, man, because now you're talking about restrictions, how long you got to do these things. But people like yourself are a godsend, Thomas, for this reason. players don't know what we don't know, and we really don't know. Like when they say, "Oh, we sent out an email," come on, man. I mean, I'm checking my emails, but I don't know what I'm clicking on. That's number one. Number two, we got what you leave the NFL with is two things: money, hopefully, memories, definitely, and number three, injuries and family. You didn't have family when you came. You didn't have wives. You didn't have kids, and now you're at home and your wife or your significant other looking at you like, "What's wrong with you?" Like, man, because here's the thing: I can tell you a physical injury. I can show it to you. You can see this bulge in my leg, or I can go get some X-rays. That neurocognitive stuff, that's where it gets tricky, especially for the players, because I can describe it, but going to see a doctor because of a NFL concussion protocol, and then that neurologist looks at you and say, your mind ain't functioning right. And you go, wait, what? Like it's not. You too young for Alzheimer's, you too young for dementia, but you trending in an area that's scary. How I want to ask you this. You talking about the award letters. That first client y'all had that y'all got because y'all get the awards and like they get it. What was it like having that very first client you have say, I mean, you've been awarded, line of duty, total and permanent, neurocognitive, because as a former player, we only ask for percentages because that's just how our mind works. What's your win rate? We only speak in football terms. It's not anything towards you, but what was it like for you, Thomas, when you got your first one and you was like, dude, I can see myself doing this?
Yeah, no, I remember seeing that award letter and kind of more or less immediately getting on a FaceTime with the player. And that's just seeing his face. I mean, this one in particular, I mean, he was, holding back tears kind of thing. And guys can be real emotional. And, obviously some guys are in different positions financially where, some of these benefits really change guys' lives. Some of them not as much financially, but, like that first player that, we were just talking about. And it's when you can have that impact on a guy, it really, keeps you driving. And it's, like I said, you asked, what the feeling was like. And honestly, it was kind of that feeling where it was like, look, this is something I could see myself doing long-term. How can I help? How can I continue to be a resource and a guy that, these players will trust and know that, I'm going to put their best foot forward.
Yeah, because like I said, it's the thing about the National Football League, it's not that like I'm piling on them. It's just, do they do a good job of messaging? Yes and no. When you are a current employee, they going, oh, man, most guys have never been to the NFLPA benefits office. They don't know where it is. It's in Baltimore. It's not in New York. That is in Baltimore because they spread everything out. NFL offices, New York. NFL PA, DC. Benefits office, Baltimore. Wait a minute. And I used to like, why would they do it like that? Well, number one, they're separate entities. While they all essentially are under the same umbrella, they do things differently. But it's my job to help you, Thomas, because it's always two things: players coming in, players exiting, and it's a lot of them exiting, and a lot of them don't really understand what's coming. Because I mean, you return at 28, 29, 30. In the best shape of your life, but all of a sudden, when training camp ain't coming and your body's feeling like it's coming, or, hey man, are y'all, you saying, oh, y'all seeing these spots? Like, no, do y'all feel? It's like your body starts coming. What you do is, number one, you tell them, look, man, you don't got to be out here by yourself, because the NFL is a business. Like it's like this train is leaving the station. I think the NFL Hall of Fame game had more viewers than the NBA Finals. So it lets you know. But at the same time, I come in because I get to be able to hopefully tell people, man, you need to call Thomas. Like, let me tell you how players are. You got two kinds of former players. You got the ones that are very aware of what's going on. That's 1%. Then you got the 99% that know nothing. I'm talking about outside of an alumni game. Are you going to the Hall of Fame? Which you probably not. And that's just being honest. What you do, Thomas, is let them know, look, some of these things, the fact that Wes Welker had to go back, when I heard, I said, they denied him.
Yeah.
It lets you know, one, you ain't going to be more high profile than Wes. It ain't too many players that high profile in the NFL. Number two, when he gets denied, that's when you go, wait, what? Yeah, they denied him.
Right.
So you might want to think about 2,000. Well, you said 2,000 pages. I don't know if I've read 2,000 pages in my life. And that's going back to, kindergarten. I just say I'm going to do my part. Like Steven said, being a former player, I didn't understand my role, which I do now as a former player. And it's really to help people like yourself and organization know that people like yourself exist. Because what happens is we don't think that your type of organizations exist, but they do. And y'all usually do really, really good work. So when Steven told me you was coming on, I was like, hell yeah, man, because we don't know what we don't know, but bigger than that, we don't know that we need it. We think, oh man, listen, when you make a lot of money, you good. But when that money ain't being refurbished, but the volume of going out is still the same. You still paying this and paying that. And you like, how much we paying for her school? And you got 4 kids in private school. See, when you making money, you don't feel it. And you look at your lady and go, wait, where that check going? That's one semester. She getting C's. Oh no. We might have to rethink this. So no, man, I'm looking forward to being a part of what you guys do just to help you guys get the wording out. Not from I can't do it like you guys do it, but you got a bunch of PAs out there. You got a bunch of former players out there. And what I make sure they know is this. Don't come in front of me crying about don't nobody want to help you. When I told you Thomas is out there, Gridiron benefits out, because I'm telling you, Thomas, I'm pretty sure you have to deal with this too. You already told them percentages. You already told them what they got to go through. You've already told them the process. And as soon as they become a client, they expecting to get awarded next day. Like, dude, the NFL moves like this. I'm talking, you could barely know it's moving. If the NFL got 60 days to respond, they're going to respond on the 60th day at the 11th and at the 12th hour, and they're going to say, oh, yeah, we need a continuance. Right. This is just from – so how does that go, though? Because sometimes how long did it take you to realize they ain't mad at you? They frustrated with the process.
Oh, for sure. And you hit the nail on the head with the NFL has 60 days to respond. They'll use all 60 and they'll use an extension if they need it. But anyways, no, like you said, with them, trying to set expectations for the process, and it is a real common question. I mean, I will say most of the guys they're pretty receptive to the response and answer, because we're just very straightforward and honest with them. Any question they have, whether it's about the process, our business, we shoot pretty straight. But as far as the process, expected timetables, if you're an NFL player listening, basically from the time that you submit that claim, you can expect a neutral evaluation to be set up by the NFL within about 30 days. You then attend that evaluation, and within about 3 to 4 weeks, you would have that decision. So, from the time of your actual evaluation, that neutral evaluation, you get a decision within about 60 days. But, oftentimes it's the legwork ahead of time to get your claim and the paperwork compiled, accentuated in a manner that, you're going to go in there and not be shortchanged. And that's when, once we, as soon as a player says he wants to go for it with us, first thing we'll do is reach out to the NFL PA to get him access to his NFL player portal, which is where all players' records are now located. They transitioned that over a few years ago, and it's a very useful tool. Unfortunately, 99% of the players we end up working with have not set it up yet. So that process can, take a couple of weeks to get the login. And, there are some logistical hurdles, but, after a few weeks of you generally, but we're in possession of those medical records that we can then get to work on. And Like I said, when you're dealing with 1,500, 2,000 pages, often it can take a couple of weeks to really go through it the right way. But generally speaking, within about five weeks or so after a player comes on with us, we're in a position to submit his claim, and generally looking at somewhere between 3 to 4 months for a decision. And of course, if an appeal is necessary, then that timetable can kind of double on a guy. Obviously, never the goal to enter the appeal stage, but anybody that we're working with, it's all inclusive. We fight the appeal, and we'll keep trying as long as the player wants to continue to go for it with us. And one other note, we have set it up where there is absolutely no out-of-pocket fee for a player unless he's awarded these benefits. And that's something that we've always felt was important. And generally with so many of these guys, they had injuries, some type, whether it's physical or neurocognitive related, that they're missing some of the documentation needed to secure those benefits. To summarize kind of quickly, where additional medical evaluation, maybe it's an MRI, X-ray, or an EMG, which tests for nerves. Not to go too much off on a tangent, but one of the main NFL impairments is radiculopathy, which is just kind of a numbing, tingling a guy might get down the arms, into the legs, etc. And one of the criteria needed to secure those impairment points is an EMG. And to this day, going through hundreds of medical records, never seen one NFL player that had an EMG through a team record. So we can apply, and then the report comes back. Yes, he has the numbing, tingling, radiculopathy, but he doesn't have an EMG. So, that's one thing. If we identify a player that likely to meet that criteria, we will set up that EMG form. We cover all the costs. They're only reimbursed if the benefits then awarded. And we kind of have a very similar landscape across all three benefits, where we try to set these guys up with the treatment they need to both help themselves as well as help their claims, and put their best foot forward. And if they're denied, then it's the cost of doing business for us. But there's never a dime out of the player's pocket unless he's awarded the benefit.
That's the best money them players. That's the best check they'll ever send out. If they get that award letter, they'll say, "Man, how much?" They probably ask y'all that's all y'all charge. I'm gonna give y'all double but think about what you just said. You going through the process, you realize, wait a minute, you don't got this already with a record with the team? No, wait a minute, you mean to tell me you got concussions? They never tested y'all before y'all left? No, you only get tested if you get knocked out. You never get tested. But there are certain practices in the NFL that you go, wait a minute, they ain't test you when you first got drafted. They just take you in a room. Nope. So most guys go their whole career and never get tested neurocognitively, never. So right. So I can tell you about Dr. Andrews in Alabama, because he worked on TO. That's the lower extremity doctor. Most guys don't even know what a neurologist is. They don't. Oh. So yeah. So when you think about that, I that's what I think you're doing the most when it comes to stuff, Thomas, is processes of, dude, look, the NFL will, if the NFL got to do something, they got loopholes because they're the ones that, giving out the checks and, doing these things. But when it comes to you, if they need 2,500 pages of documents, you got 2,499, they denied you because you didn't have, the way the NFL does it, which I get it, it's their entity. But a lot of players don't realize you got to practice patience, a lot of patience. And you got to be willing to understand that guys gonna get denied, and sometimes just because you get denied don't mean you weren't eligible. The NFL got some tricky little stuff they do to deny people. But that's where you come in, Thomas, and be like, look, man, we do this. It's understandable. But I'm telling you, man, y'all doing guys' work over there. I mean, you talked about what his name was, the guy that you said went to Miami.
Dr. Rich Diane. And
by the time it's over with, Thomas, you're gonna have an MD too, because you're gonna like, dude, I know about MCLs, PCLs, ACLs. I know about fifth metatarsal, because you learned about the human body. They say, wait a minute, you got diagnosed with, the tingling, but you ain't got no record with the teams you was on, and you played for multiple ones. So the one thing the NFL I give them credit for is this: they are very much together. When it comes to medical stuff, all the trainers do it the same way. There is no deviation. That's why second opinions are not liked. They don't like that stuff. They want you to trust. What you mean you went and go spoke to? Yeah, I went and spoke to another doctor. He said my foot looks a lot worse than y'all said. No, you said because you played. Well, he said I couldn't play. So yeah, and I got to ask you this too, man. When you think about what you're doing, you say you went to the University of Florida, but you also went to Trinity. I mean, are you a Gators fan now? I mean, you went there. I mean, are you rooting for the boys in Gainesville?
For
okay,
sure.
okay, just making sure, because I was like, there is no way Thomas was on campus and he didn't get that bug. He was like, dude, what's going on?
Come on, man.
All right. I'm just listen, we got some imposters on campus these days. We got some, some Florida State enthusiasts, some Miami. I'm just saying, just making sure, because you live in Florida. But then number two is this: you are a baseball dude, like top to bottom. Played baseball. Have you become more of a football junkie? Okay. All right. And this is what I want. I want a company out there that can make every player, doesn't matter where you played at, take it. And we're gonna do the AJ Brown experience. We're gonna get you some mannequins. I don't know where you're gonna put them at, Thomas. And you're gonna have all your jerseys up for every team you play for. I think that is brilliant, by the way. But in all seriousness, I'm asking this though: when you think about the fact that you are a baseball guy, are you more of a football guy now because that's your clientele, or do you still kind of go back and forth? Like, listen, still love baseball, but I kind of got that dual. You talking about dual citizenship? Do you got that dual sports, enthusiasm going on right now?
Right. No, it's all terrific question. Number one, it's always great to be a Florida Gator. So,
yes.
But and so I would say this: growing up, I mean, I played all sports. One thing my school didn't have was a football team. Unfortunately, I would have loved to kind of tried my athletic ability at quarterback or something like that. Felt like natural transition from my infield shortstop kind of position on baseball. But growing up, as even though baseball was clearly my top sport athletically, I was never a fan of anything more than football. NFL, college. I mean, I would put over the last decade, maybe 15 years. I don't know that anyone's watched more college and NFL games than me, and I'm not sure if that's an accomplishment or an embarrassment. But I mean, I absolutely love it. NFL preseason's already going, and college kickoff. I think under less than 30 days away. So I'm excited for it. I mean, I love baseball. It kind of opened so many doors for me. Wouldn't change any of that. But there's no sport I'm more a fan of than the NFL or than football in general, really. And not to create any enemies, but I was born up in Boston, so. Boston sports teams, pure and pure, and
look at Steve. They're like, oh.
Hey,
he
was a Brady fan. Come on, let's not.
Oh yeah. No. But he listen. Let me tell you something, Thomas. We share a love for, football players, former players, trying to get them their money, But I'm a Falcons fan. I don't want to hear that Boston stuff.
Oh.
I I tell Steven this all the time, man. Like I was born in Georgia, live in Georgia. I was indoctrinated. I was, that's it. It's all pro Georgia sports. So outside of the Braves, which that ain't even going on this year, it ain't much. I mean, the Hawks got a real nice arena. That's it. The Falcons got a real nice dome. That's it. I don't want to hear about expectations. I don't want to hear about how we look this year. The same way we looked last year. I don't want to hear but the University of Florida, University of Florida, that's my trash talking. I'm a trash talk. I don't care who it is. Braves, I'm gonna talk trash, not because we're good, but because I'm gonna keep saying this. If you ain't won a World Series or you're not in a position to win it, I'm talking trash to the Yankees. What am I saying? I don't care. I'm talking trash to anybody, But I just had to, because with you, man, I think you got a chance to do something that I hope you understand. Most players don't get a replacement from the game. That's why we hate what we're doing now. We hate the fact that, oh man, you got to replace it without having to leave the love of the game. Like you get to replace it with, man, you talk about gridiron benefits. You talk about how much you've learned and continue to learn in this process. You talk about former NFL players. There's somebody talking about you right now. If you help them get their award, a family, a husband, children.
I want to make sure we get this up there so we people can know if anyone's going on here to be able to reach out to Thomas and Gridiron Benefits. I'm gonna throw up a few more of the graphics that Thomas threw me throughout the episode today. So wherever you're catching this, hopefully AI can clip this and make sure we get some of this stuff. But I want to make sure we get that one out there. And one more, I didn't mean to cut you off, Ben, but one more question that I have before we want to move on to some sports topics is, how many guys have you been able to work with yet? Obviously, you're fairly new company, not a whole lot of people know about you. How many clients have you had the pleasure of working with to date?
Right. So, I mean, I personally have worked with over 300 clients in one capacity or another, not necessarily applying them all for benefits. As I said, we'll meet with a guy and, sometimes they're not eligible or they just choose not to go forward with it. But, at this point, I've worked with over 300 players, helped, I'd say over 100 guys secure benefits, whether it be line of duty, neurocognitive, or total and permanent. And I will say too, although we're new to Instagram, I think our account, we activated it about a week ago. We have been in business since 2021, kind of behind, out of the limelight, I guess, but just kind of felt long overdue to try to reach some people through social channels. Of course, we definitely want to do it in a tasteful way, and you have to be careful as well with when you're dealing with these type of benefits. You have to remember it is medical, it is protected info. We can't just be throwing guys out there.
And that's one of the things I liked about I think it was like your first or second post you did on Instagram. You said like you'd gotten this athlete of award, but you didn't really kind of state what was going on. The photo of the athlete was just like kind of like a silhouette type of thing. So I think you're dotting your I's as far as protecting the HIPAA laws and things of that nature. So so I got to give props to you there. And then obviously, guys, make sure you guys are checking these guys out. Here's the QR code if that's your thing when you want to go be able to look things up. I want to make sure, like I said, throw a few more of these graphics up there as we're going through today's episode. But we were talking about some of the NFL stuff, and I wanted to get to one or two more things before we get to some baseball. But I don't know if you guys seen this.
Yep.
George Kittle was not happy that the NFL had banned smelling salts from the sidelines and things of that nature. Now we're already talking about head issues and guys having issues in that way, and 9 times out of 10, if you need the smelling salts, means you've already gotten your bell rung in one way, shape, or form, which is why I believe the NFL is pushing towards banning smelling salts. What are your thoughts on this, Thomas? I mean, you think this is a good move for the NFL, or is it just taking a minor asset away from the players?
That's interesting. I'll be honest that when you just put it up there, that was the first I had seen of it. But you kind of make a good point. If perhaps it was giving guys a jolt to feel like they could be back out there when they really shouldn't be physically. Again, I don't know the finer medical details of it, so I don't want to overstep, but I do know that they do try to protect, the NFL does try to protect themselves and make decisions, in the best interest of the players, especially when it comes to health. And if there was some underlying reasons there, it'd be tough to really argue it if they do have, sound reasoning for it. But I guess I'm not necessarily in a qualified position to comment really further than that on it at this point.
What about you, Ben? That's your man, GK over there. He's not happy. What do you think about Kittle having a grievance filed for them banning smelling salts now?
I mean, it's gonna make the news because of who's filing the grievance. But I mean, I've had my moments with smelling salts. Let me tell you something, man. That stuff gets you up and keep you up. He said he'd do it before every series. Look, you don't need but one. If you ever smell one, and this is how they introduce them to you. No one just does it. You sitting there doing something like reading something, somebody just sticking under your nose. You're like, what? That stuff is crazy. So I think the NFL just wants they just want to piss people off. Hey, we got to get rid of these smelling salts. Why? I mean, I believe either they're not being utilized enough, or when the NFL say, hey, look at this, it's something else they don't want us to look at. So I don't know what this is, but it's something that's that sleight of hand. But I mean, they're gonna listen to George kinda because he's George Kittle, but this is not gonna cause outrage throughout the league because they usually have a box full of them, and most time that box just sit there. You like crack it in.
You ain't lying about that. Like, do you when you're talking about when you getting a smelling salt in front of you, I think there was a time Larry Fitzgerald was messing with Fox's Pam Oliver. She
stuck it on that.
He hits her with it. You immediately see her turn around. We're like, oh, what was that?
Oh yeah. Smell it. Listen. Smelling salts are the average athlete has never used one. Because if you have, there is no. Have you done? Oh yeah, them things there. They whoever invented that, they got it right. They got it right. If you need somebody to get up, just stick it right here. And when they breathe in, unless they ain't got no pulse, they getting up. I don't care who it is. Now I don't know if they had a couple of adult beverages. I don't know. But outside of that, if you can't get up for football, if I need a smell, and look, George Kittle does what he does. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but he is in the minority in this. I guarantee you, there ain't you see how these sound bites and all these things they do on the sideline with NFL films. You don't never see that smelling salt. You're gonna see it maybe in the locker room, and it's like this. Oh, I mean, you kind of smell it like this. You ain't sticking it. You ain't taking a huge whiff. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, George, if that's what you do, man, look, George is kind of showing his weirdness too. I told you these football players, we weird people. Not George. People say out of all the grievances you want to file, yeah, man, I need my smelling salt. All right. Now what he's really saying is, can he buy his own? Yeah. That's a.
But George, we're gonna go back to your Atlanta right here because this past weekend you had a unique event going down there at Atlanta. And Mr. Joe P over here is right. Whoever at Major League Baseball came up with the idea to put a NASCAR track around a baseball game deserves a raise. First off, I'm gonna go with Thomas, and then Ben. What are your thoughts on this, Thomas? Are you pro for this to kind of see more things like this, having a baseball event surrounding a NASCAR event to kind of have a kind of multi-cultured, multi-sport event going on at the same time?
No, I mean, I think it's terrific. I think MLB has kind of been doing that over the last few years. First kind of example of it I think I saw was in Williamsport, where they do the Little League World Series. They had the big leaguers play a game out there, and they filled the stands with Little League teams that were around there. And I think they played a game at the Polo Grounds, which is a famous old historic stadium there, and just playing in unique venues. I think it's pretty neat to see really any sport played in a venue that is, it's not the norm, and not to take it over to football, but on a similar note, when these bowl games that every year when you have football bowl games in MLB stadiums, I've been fortunate to attend a few of them at Fenway Park, and I get to see the games at Yankee Stadium where these local teams, whether it's Rutgers playing at Yankee Stadium or Boston College playing at Fenway, or UConn playing in these hometown. It's just a real special experience. So I think it's just pretty unique. I'm all for doing, experiencing and seeing different sports played in unique venues.
All right, Ben, what about you? This is in your backyard here. So was it a good thing? Are you indifferent? How are you feeling about this?
I mean, I can see what they're trying to do, but here's the thing: you have to make it way more intentional. Okay, so you got a NASCAR track surrounding the baseball stadium, which means you got to make NASCAR fans wear baseball jerseys. When you come to see NASCAR, put on your favorites, because I understand the parallel. But baseball is trying to go way outside the box when it comes to these things, which I get it. But it has to work, because you know what happens if it don't work, right? Somebody's going to get the blame for this. Who did this? Who decided? Now, if it works, you're going to have to do it around other places. But unless you're trying to bring NASCAR fans into more baseball, or baseball into NASCAR, I'm trying to understand the overall parallel of it. But baseball plays so many games. You're going to have to come up with something, because there's so many games. It's too many teams in baseball that are just there that are not going to win consistently. And that's what I think they're doing. Like, look, man, some of us don't want to spend any money on players. We just want to make money for the team, give this like Moneyball for some of these players, teams in the MLB. So, and Bryce Harper said, y'all better come on the chance to make my money, because we're not doing this salary cap. I don't want to hear about it. Rob Manfred, don't come here with that nonsense. But hey, look, it's with 100 and something games of baseball, no one's gonna remember a game. But if it does potentially take off, you know who's gonna be mad? NASCAR fans. They're gonna be like, what is baseball diamond doing here? And you better keep them on the track too. Hey man, as long as keep them drivers on the track. But it's a concept, man. Everything. Putt is now top golf. You know what I'm saying? We was the putt generation. Now our kids just think, oh man, I can hit it 100 yards. Boy, you up on a lift. You can't. You just swinging the club. So this is just a concept.
Well, it takes Mario. You need to relax.
Exactly. It's like, Dad, I think I'm ready to be a PGA golfer. Boy, you fail in English. Get your behind in there and study. You ain't gonna be no golfer. I'm just saying.
My personal listen. I'm all for when you have these events. And like Ben says, as long as you make it work, as long as you make it make sense, you don't just do it for the sake of doing it. A lot of Georgia fans. You do have a lot of NASCAR fans, so I see the appeal there. I don't think you can do that in every state with every team. I'm gonna just say that. Love the ingenuity to kind of put that together. I know that there was rain delays and things of that nature that kind of accompanied that game. So maybe something you could plan out a little bit better. You can't always plan for the weather. I know how that goes, but I think it's it's a great idea. Hopefully we will see it a lot more with where NASCAR is popular and Major League Baseball is popular, and something we can see continue moving along down the line. But we're going to get on to this next one. Obviously, I throw my Philly love in there. I put this one in there. Kyle Schwarber over the last few years has kind of made himself known as a long ball hitter, and we don't see a whole lot of big name power guys as much as we used to, maybe 10 years ago. But he's on pace right now, and he's getting real close to Ryan Howard's big year in 2006. Obviously, we're still pretty early in August, where Ryan Howard absolutely tore it up. But we basically got 2 months here. Kyle Schwarber's already got 40 home runs. You think he catches Ryan Howard and beats at least the Phillies home run record? He's been pretty hot lately.
Well, yeah, we got 40. He got 40 right now.
I think he hit another one last night, so it should be 41.
Right, Ryan Howard had 50, 56, 57?
58.
58? Wow.
He had 14 in August. Like I said, he's going to have to at least get around that to be able to do it.
And he's got what? I'm sorry, 40 how many?
41 right now.
Wow.
So he needs 16, 17 over 55 games or something?
Yeah.
That's a torrid pace to finish the season.
I think the Kyle's advantage is that he's the DH here. He's not every day playing a position in the outfield. He has played the outfield this season, but he's primarily the DH for the Phillies. So
which makes it even more
probably being available for every game that the Phillies will have from here on out. Where Ryan probably had a few off days in those last 2 months. I think he can do it.
Yeah.
The way how hot Kyle's been the last few years, and this time of year is where he tends to kind of rip it up. I think it is possible. I also think that if he does do that, if he does happen to surpass Ryan Howard's mark, that we should also put him in that 3-letter conversation. He should be in line to potentially win this year's MVP as well. Want to turn it over to you guys? I'll start with Thomas and come back up to Ben.
Yeah, no, I mean, as you said, I mean, he's as hot as he's been all season right now. So, as high a bar as he needs over the final 2 months to get there. If things can stay, I mean, when a guy's locked in, you just hit everything. It didn't. You guys know it. Power. It just. You feel like you can hit any pitch out of the ballpark, and he's got enough games to do it. As you said, I think that the fact that he is a DH, and is aware that the Phillies manager, team, staff, they're all aware that he's in contention for this, so they're going to, I'm sure, give him every opportunity to run it down, and it'd be exciting to follow and watch.
What about you, Ben?
It's crazy. I met Ryan Howard when I lived in Tampa, and I know, I ain't fanboying him. That's Ryan Howard. He was this back when I used to spend money on stuff. And I'm cheap as all get out now. But I'm saying I'm in a Gucci store, and I said that's Ryan. And he at a certain point he realized I'm looking at him. I'm like, hey man, this ain't the time we got social media. So I just said something to him or whatever, just hollering at him. And we get to the register, and the amount of money he was spending, I'm like, yeah, can I put mine on the counter too? You gonna pay for mine too, all that? But no, if Kyle even threatens it, because there are certain when that season happened, you're like, dude, I don't see nobody doing that. And the fact that he's in a position to threaten it, anything. Listen, 52. If he gets to 52 homers, and they're gonna look at OBS and all that stuff. I get it. He gets to 52. I hope obviously you want to break it. He gets in the 50s, yes, absolutely. Like I think that's MVP worthy stuff, because when we talk about long ball hitters, the first people they're gonna go to, Ohtani and freaking Aaron. They're going to Judge. They're going to those are the long ball guys, and they doing it all the time to where they're almost making it boring because they do it all the time. Kyle doing this, Ryan Howard is looking like, what is going on with Kyle? Because now if he breaks it, NL MVP. Because you got to put it in context of when he's doing it with the caliber of players. I mean, there go Bryce Harper right there. I mean, he's right there, right? And he's not doing that. So, and nothing against Bryce. It don't take away from him. If Kyle threatens it or breaks it, yes. Because I don't know if Ryan Howard still shows up in Philly. He got to show up.
Because he was just here for He was just here for the Wall of Fame induction for Jimmy Rollins. So
okay, so if and like I say too, I know people talk about I don't want my record to get broken. Yeah, you do, because it adds more prestige to you to show the caliber of player you were. But if Kyle does it, and once again, let me say this again, I don't find myself. Listen, I can root for players. I'm not rooting for the Phillies. I'm not rooting for the Phillies. I'm rooting for Kyle. No. Listen to my brave listeners. Let me tell you something. I am always appreciative of what a player does individually. But he got that big old P like Steven does right on his hat. So, I'm rooting for you, Kyle. Just not against my Braves. You could do it against the Mets. You could do it against, the Nationals and the Marlins or whatever. But no, I think he's got a shot because baseball, like any other sport, is all about momentum, and he got it. He's gonna slow down, but I still think if pitchers are willing to throw to him and not throw at him, yeah, I think he definitely got a shot.
Yeah, I don't think we're in the age now where Kyle's so over the top that you're pitching around him like Barry was, because Kyle does have another thing that goes against him. He strikes out a lot. So right. where Barry Bonds, it was like you either got a home run or you got him out. Barry didn't strike out a whole lot, not at the clip that Kyle does. So I think that's a thing where you could still see pitchers go after him. And I think it puts him in a unique position where he could still break it. We're going to see what happens over the next, better part of 2 months to see if he can do it. I think he can. I hope he does break it on the same lines that Ben said. But it's going to be an interesting few months. I know it's hurtful for Ben right now that his Braves are as bad as they are this year, and it's obvious they're probably not going to even be in the wild card contention either. So it's a hurtful time for him. I understand why he says he doesn't want to root for Kyle.
I'm rooting for Kyle.
Reason to hold your team accountable. Say, look what the Phillies are doing. The other reason why I think Kyle's going to do it. This is a contract year. He's gonna maximize his dollars right now.
Yeah, Steven, you did make a great point though there at the end with Schwarber's kind of high strikeout numbers, which does incentivize pitchers and teams to go after him because you have that upside of a strikeout, which just kills. Obviously, there's no less productive at bat, right? And when you have that upside. So frequent.
It's an ego thing for pitchers too, man. They love to get them strikeouts, and sometimes that's what hurts them more than anything is they want to punch you out instead of getting you to pop one up or getting a ground ball out of you. That punch out is so enticing to a pitcher. Sometimes they put themselves in danger, and Kyle's the epitome of living and dying by the sword. So it's going to be interesting. I think it gives more intrigue to what we're looking in the last few months while we're looking at the Phillies. I'm going to go another route is trade deadline just happened, and Phillies just got to close to kind of seal things up. And in his second game as a Philly, he broke Citizens Bank Park record as the fastest mile per hour pitch thrown at Citizens Bank Park, which is mind-boggling to me. It was all the pitchers that have gone through there over the past 20 years or so. The other thing is, I came across the last few days was he has a unique entrance, and when it comes to closers in baseball, the entrance is also just as important as the player. I don't know if you guys have had an opportunity to see it yet. I'm going to play a little 40-second clip, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on not only Johan's entrance, but the way that the closer's entrance has kind of brought in a spark to baseball over the last 10, 20 years or so. So here's the 40-second clip.
Check it out.
Obviously, we're almost getting to the point where we're feeling like we're at a little rock concert, so to speak. I think as they call him, the Durantula. I think it is something that's unique. And after I get all your thoughts, I'm gonna add another 30-second clip to this because the teams are trying to get the fans more active and involved in this stuff. First off, Thomas, I mean, obviously you come from a different age. What do you think about the closer's entrance? Is this something that's kind of breathing some air back into the funness of what baseball is?
I mean, I absolutely love it for one. I do think what you're saying, like with these kind of light shows and the whole stadium goes dark, that's something that's kind of evolved over the last few years. I mean, I remember with Edwin Diaz coming out to the trumpet, Timmy Trumpet, for the closer for the Mets, and Duran there is, I mean, that it's just electric. And I mean, growing up, it reminded me kind of the original was before everybody all the closers kind of had their own, there was really only one that kind of stood out, which Mariano Rivera, I mean, greatest closer, came out to Enter Sandman. And man, like, I mean, I went to a few games at Yankee Stadium when he came in, and that is something that it is a rock concert, but they didn't need any special effects. It was just the music. He'd come out to that, and man, he threw a cutter too that was ice cold. But and then as a Red Sox fan, I mean, a little bit after that, Jonathan Papelbon, he would come out to shipping up to Boston with the Dropkick Murphys, and that stadium would go insane. And I mean, I love it. It's something that you don't get throughout the game either, because the way baseball is. So to have that kind of stopper come in where the crowd can kind of unleash this energy, I'm all for it.
Ben.
If you are a closer and you don't take a full day to sit with the event staff saying, look, this got to be epic, because a closer, especially when you good and you do all that, come on, man, like that makes the game fun. And when you on a team that matters, you a player that matters, absolutely. He took us to a whole concert from the start to the light show to a tarantula, a spider, whatever that is, to the fire. Then he goes out and throw 103. Like, what? 100? Like, so yeah, I love it. I mean, you don't appreciate a movie like Major League until we get old and realize, dude, that's theatric. No, this is what baseball is supposed to be like. Give me Vaughn. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, cranking hair. They forgot to put this when he cut his hair again. That's baseball, because it's an event. And I enjoy stuff like that. Now you're putting pressure on other closers who just run out. No music for real. Like, come on, man, let's get some energy. Let's add some flair. But yeah, I love that stuff. I mean, it makes you want to be a closer until you realize they throw what? They throw 100 and they can throw 103. Yeah, I'm not gonna be no part of that. You ain't throwing 50, let alone 103. 100.
Yeah, I think that obviously this is a two-parter here. Him hitting 103 in his second appearance as a Philly, having that type of entrance and bringing that type of electricity. This team's going to be in the postseason. That entrance, that song is going to be ringing in a lot of fans' ears over the next few months. And to furthermore the point, the team has kind of absolutely gotten the fans involved. Here's about a 30-second clip. If you're a Phillies fan and you want to get your ass involved in it, this is how you do it.
Johan Duran's entrance for the Phillies is about to get even cooler, and now fans are going to be involved. The Phillies are going to have your light on your cell phone be synced with the music when Johan Duran comes out. All you have to do is use the MLB Ballpark app, and there is a button that says Light Show, and you just give it permission, and now your flashlight will be synced with his entrance. This is amazing fan experience, fan interaction. I'm allowing it right now.
Makes you want to go catch a game at Citizens Bank Park at some time in the next few months, right?
Yeah, of course. You want to be able to look. Everything now is about the fan experience, and and this is what happens. Everything is viral now. Yep. So you try to get some clicks up, and then you try. If he acknowledge you or retweet it or send you an ad, I don't know. It's all about the fans though. So yeah, it's a chance to get fans more involved. I like it. And once again, he's throwing 103. So now he's not going to do that every time. I don't even know what a shoulder got to have to even do that. 103. Good. Yes. I mean that's what do. Give me the camera. Give me a catcher. I want to see how fast that bat. How do you react to a 103-mile-an-hour pitch?
Don't blink. Don't blink.
I never had to, but that's probably because I didn't get to play as long as I would have liked to.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be a unique experience here in Philadelphia, and want to get moving right on. And we like to talk about the Hall of Fame here. Next year's eligible classes come out, right?
Yep.
And obviously, there's about 2 names that pop up. Obviously, I'm going to give my boy Cole Hamels some loves. Being a big part of that 08 team. I don't know if he quite has the numbers. And to be honest, the guys that are available, I don't know if they're first ballot Hall of Famers point blank and period, because how hard it is to get into the Hall of Fame in baseball. Again, I'm going to start with Thomas here. Do you feel anyone on this list is going to be eligible? And do you think anyone on the list gets in?
Gosh, I mean, the 2 names that stand out to me, and I would have to kind of go through numbers a little bit deeper, but one, you mentioned Cole Hamels. I mean, just thinking back at his kind of peak, I mean, he was really as good as anyone in baseball, just dominant. And the other one on there that stands out, but he had the big suspension. Ryan Braun had those incredible, I mean, record-breaking home run years, and of course he had the banned substance that led to his suspension.
Here's my thing with that.
Been tough for those.
People are gonna think I'm wrong here, right? And I really don't care. Let's be honest, what banned substance was really about, and I think other players have kind of said this. It wasn't to make you stronger or anything like that. It's to make sure you could recover better and be available to play the marathon that is the 162 game baseball season. Do I think it's right? No, I don't think it's right. But I also think there should be some point where guys are breaking down that they're allowed to be able to use something via injury, not via like, hey, I'm trying to go after this regular, juice me to the gills. I think when we're looking at it in that context, I don't think Ryan Braun should be 100% punished. We already have guys that we've known that tested positive in the Hall of Fame right now. If one is in, they all should get in. That and that's just the way I think about it. But go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah, and I mean, to that point, my kind of feeling on that has always been, and it might not be a popular one, is if a player is on the ballot and the writers, they're going through checking, they should be making the decision based on the statistics. Leave it, in my opinion, it should be up to MLB to say this guy's not eligible for the Hall of Fame because he was suspended for XYZ. But if he's on that ballot, now you have all these writers taking their own personal stance, and that I think that kind of hurts the integrity of the voting process.
Oh, that's something we beat this drum hard here, Thomas. I do not like the sports writer, not for a single sport. I've said this multiple shows over the past few months. Take the sports writers out of it. put it in hands of current former players and Hall of Famers, and the writers get a vote. One, you count as a whole for one vote. You don't control the whole thing and stopping guys from getting watching Ichiro basically in his Hall of Fame speech go after a writer because he didn't get voted. He wasn't voting him in. Who in their right minds is gonna tell us that man was not a first ballot Hall of Famer and should have been unanimously voted in? I can't think of anybody unless you have a personal agenda. When you put your personal feelings in over the body of work that the player had, I think you're the problem and you should no longer have a say in this process.
Baseball will always have this problem, like you just mentioned, Stephen. Listen, what they say, man, too many Chiefs, not enough Indians, or whatever, however they do. If the eye test got to matter, right? Ryan Braun, have you ever had a person that had a sketchy career get in? Yep. He will not be. If that's the case, all those guys from way back when the TV was just in black and white, they're gone too. But you let a bunch of guys in. Those home run numbers are up there. Now, a lot of guys on this list, you got to be in to make it in as a hitter, man. You got to be in, at least 250 to 300 homers. You got to at least be up there because you're a hitter. Now, I mean, you talked about it once again. I'm trying. You got me giving all these Philly guys, love again. If your nickname is Hollywood, that's your nickname. I'm just saying, and once again, we're not comparing the top pitchers to Nolan Ryan, are we? Then nobody's getting in. But 2,500 strikeouts, the 3,000 can't be the threshold. I know you want to get to that magical 3,000. 2,500 to 3, but he's the reason why Philly's got a World Series. So yeah, World Series MVP, and yeah, because in the biggest game I was the best player. So yeah, I can now. Edwin, let me tell you something. Edwin didn't have the All-Stars, but the numbers, he's a long ball hitter. And you got to, everybody ain't gonna be an All-Star. Listen, obviously when it comes to Mark Akins and Matt Kemp, anybody playing for the Braves, I'm very biased. Very biased the guy that played for the Braves. Matt Kemp got an outside shot. But baseball is so different because I don't know if it's a longevity thing, is a production thing. But but like I said, I mean, when I saw Cole Hamels, I was like, who, Hollywood? Listen, you got the Hollywood on here, you got the Bison, Matt the Bison, man. I'm happy for some of these guys because sometimes, and maybe I'm wrong, Tom, but just to be in consideration, because it's hard to get in. But I'm gonna keep saying this. You want to make Pete Rose eligible after he dies? I will never forgive the MLB for that. Never. And I'm like, you're gonna wait on him to pass? So no, we was getting ready to do it. You're liars. You were not getting ready to do it. You wait on him to pass away. Now you want to do it. And I'm gonna keep saying this. Mark McGwire is a Hall of Famer. Barry Bonds was a Hall of Famer if he took it, didn't take it. What are we doing not putting these people in? But you know a person down the list that should be on? If Andrew Jones is not a Hall of Famer, they don't exist. That's dude one of the best center fielders you're ever going to see. Yes, I'm biased because he played for the Braves, but check the numbers.
Rightfully so. He was stellar out there, offensively and defensively.
Yes.
He brought back double-digit home runs over his career.
But all these guys are deserving. No, when I saw Cole, I said, all right. And sometimes when you go back and see how he affected the game, Cole Hamels was nice, man. And look, when you pitch and win, that go Adam Wainwright, you know what I'm saying? That go Verlander, and you still doing it. You still a big name amongst those names. Hey, man, Cole Hamels is which I mean, not to keep talking about my Braves, but Tom Glavine was a guy that got in, right? And he didn't have the greatest numbers you ever seen because of all those guys around him. But he got in. So 2,500 to 3,000 strikeouts, I think you get in. Because I think that's the point.
Because if Tom gets in, then Cole should get in. I just don't think anyone on that list is going to be a first ballot. That's my only don't think. I do think there's a couple guys on that list that should get in. Hamels being the top of it, obviously, but I don't think not one of them is going to be first ballot, just because the writers are basically three blind mice trying to lead each other in a dark room.
Yeah.
Ryan Braun got the best. I think Ryan Braun got the best shot. If they don't start with all, we get it, man. But look, if you're not going to ban him from the sport, don't ban him from the Hall of Fame. If you're not going to kick him out of the sport, because every time, he got suspended, said he didn't do it, got suspended again, came back again. So, I mean, I remember them Ryan Braun. I think Ryan Braun is like really, really good buddies with like Aaron Rodgers. I remember them too, But Ryan Braun was an incredible player, man. Like him or dislike him. Can he play baseball? Absolutely. Is he Hall of Fame worthy? Yes, I think he is.
Yeah, and to a similar kind of extent, think about back when Hideki Matsui and Ichiro came into the league, and their first years they absolutely tore it up offensively, and they were on the ballots for Rookie of the Year, and that was kind of a similar issue where a lot of the writers, they felt they weren't rookies, and whether you feel they should have been eligible or not, because they played overseas at high level before coming over. But I mean, my biggest thing is if they're on the ballot, you should be grading them and casting your vote or withholding it based on, the MLB on their on-field accolades.
I agree. And this is why I'll continue to say, get the writers out of being the ones bringing them in. I want more players involved. I want more people that played with these guys involved. I want the Hall of Famers involved. I'm done with the media holding bias, keeping guys out. I believe in multiple different sports, we have a log jam of guys that have long overdue to be inducted into their said sport, and that writers are keeping them there as you're putting Timmy in the corner and trying to punish him for whatever reason. I'm done with it. I'm gonna continue to say this, and it's sad because technically I'm a writer, part of media. I'm sitting there saying I shouldn't be involved. You're damn right, because we do get upset, and a lot of us do hold grudges and won't give these guys their proper due, and we've seen it. Not only does the league hold grudges against certain players and things like that, but the media does as well. And I think we should be basing this thing off of who they were to their team, what they meant to their organizations, and what they meant to the sport. Did they bring fans in? Did they touch the game in a way that you can't quantify as just an everyday person? I think there's a lot of guys that should be in there, from multiple different sports, but don't want to continue to beat on this drum too much. But now I want to get to Eddie's point here. Only great players should be on the Hall. It's not the Hall of Very Good. I hear you there, but we're most of those guys have been great. Doesn't matter if they were great for 3 seasons or their entire career. Not all guys are going to be able to get that type of production. But I think, obviously, I don't know if you guys seen it. Eddie didn't believe there was anyone on that prior list that should have been a Hall of Famer. We all have our opinions on that. We can debate that at another time, but I don't think that the writer should continue to hold this type of weight to keeping guys there. So, yeah, Hamels was good, and he was good for quite a time. It's just he was pulling this team out of the depths before the likes of Hamel or Holiday got there, before Lee got there. He put that organization on his back from a pitching standpoint, and played on some really bad teams too. So. I think Cole was great. I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm going to say that. As much as I love Cole, I got his jersey on my wall signed. Met him a few years ago. Great guy, but I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I'll stick to that. But I do think at some point in time that he should get in, and there should be a lot more other players. I know Ben's going to push for Andrew Jones, and I agree. agree with it. There's guys like Andrew that should be on here. Gonna switch gears from baseball. Gonna go back to some football. We have to talk about the elephant in the room that's going on right now. The guy that cannot has to be the center of attention of his organization has done it again. Jerry Jones did his thing. Here's another comment he made prior to the crap storm last week, that there's nobody that could do what he does with all the contracts, be a better GM than he is. This is in reference to people talking about him stepping down. Obviously, if you were under a rock, you didn't see what happened last week. He basically, alienated his star player, arguably the biggest player on his team. Micah Parsons has been due for a contract. He's been trying to get a contract done for well over a year now. He's been trying to play the good soldier, all that other stuff. And, he has officially gone out and made a trade. And, there was some things that he had said. He'd made a kind of multiple page little post there when he announced it. But the one thing that kind of stuck out to me, and it's something me and Bennett already talked about, is he no longer wants to be held to closed door negotiations without his agent. That is unethical beyond any term between athlete and owner. We can have a loose conversation and say, hey, this is what we think the numbers should be. This is what this should be. Okay, we're going to agree upon this. Call my agent. Let's get the T's crossed and the I's dotted. And the fact that he won't have a conversation with his agent, I think, is the biggest red flag that I've seen come out of this whole thing. Then Jerry goes after Des Bryant, because Des Bryant was backing up him and talking about his time with Rock Nation and Jay-Z and all that, and that how Jay-Z made this big mess. And obviously Rock Nation goes and puts out a press release, stating what happened during that time between Rock Nation, Jay-Z, and Mr. Jones. As an Eagles fan, I want all the medical science involved in this world right now to keep Jerry alive for another 100 years, because this is too much fun to watch as an Eagles fan, watching them literally destroy your relationship with your biggest star right now. Do I think everything gets settled and said and done? I think there's a possibility, because we've seen a lot of times where guys request trades and everything, but they have fractured the player-owner relationship to a point where even if they move forward, it's never going to be the same. There's always going to be that kind of side eye, like, yeah, you're my boss, but I know what you tried to do to me. I know what you were trying to make happen. And Jerry always tries to do this thing where he tries to hold this leverage in the media and thinks it's his ultimate trump card. I think this is one of those times where he's put himself in a worse situation, and at this point in time, giving I think the Wolves at bay for reason to say Jerry needs to step away, get out of his own team's way. I think they do have a good football team in certain aspects, but I think Jerry does whatever he can to make sure he's the one everyone's talking about, and 9 times out of 10 is for all the wrong reasons. Thomas, what are your thoughts on what transpired this past week with Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys, and Micah Parsons?
Well, I think I might default more to Ben's opinion, but I will say I don't think anyone can argue Jerry Jones has got a very unique way of running his organization. He's a very intelligent guy, but he is also ruffles, can't argue he ruffles his fair share of feathers along the way as well. And I guess no one will accuse him of not being confident. That's my part on it.
Ben, I know, Ween, you already slightly touched on this last week, but it definitely became an animal of a different color this past week, and getting into some very unethical ways. A way if I'm Micah Parsons, first off, if we're coming back to the table, we're talking upwards of $40 million a year. Other than that, I don't want to have any other conversation. The only thing that's going to make me feel better about this is money. even though Mike has made it clear that money wasn't his ultimate determining factor, he just wanted to get what he had already earned.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, straighten these squiggly lines of snakes out for us. What are you feeling?
First and foremost, a guy like Dez Bryant should have stayed out of this situation because you don't make things better. Whatever happened during your time with the Dallas Cowboys was between you, Rock Nation, and whatever else. These are closed door type situations. I don't think Dez Bryant is on the same level, even at his position, than a Micah Parsons is. Most guys want to be an All-Pro. Most guys want to be a second-team All-Pro. Micah Parsons has been in the league 4 years. First year, he was a first-team All-Pro Rookie of the Year. Second year, he was a first-team All-Pro. His last 2 years, he was a second-team All-Pro, second-team All-Pro. He has a resume in 4 years that most guys won't get in a career. The worst GM in sports is Jerry Jones. It is not. Well, no. The worst GM in sports is for the Bengals. They're the worst, but they're the worst as an organization. Jerry Jones can't fire himself because he's the owner. When he says no one else can do it, yes, someone else could. What does Stephen Jones do? Will sit there next to you and take pictures and smile. Is he the president? And he only hired because he's your son. He don't even. I've never seen anything like this because this. And Thomas, you can agree to this. You don't alienate your best player for nothing. For what? You're talking about your best player. No one does that. You won't. Why won't the owner of Kansas City talk about Patrick Mahomes? Right? Why won't the owner of the Baltimore Ravens talk about Lamar? Because I can hear you. It's not like we can't see these things. He's not gonna. We don't even know if we're gonna sign him, and he missed 6 games. He missed 4. People get injured. Let's look at your track record since the 90s. Okay, see, you ain't done nothing since the 90s. And I know you walk in, you got them 3 Lombardi trophies, you know. Emmitt Smith's son is old enough to play for the freaking Cowboys. That's how long it's been. And Troy Aikman Jr. and Michael Irvin Jr. So I love the circus because the circus is in town. It's in Dallas, Fort Worth, and Jerry Jones. And you know why people are really scared to say something in the Dallas-Fort Worth area? Because you remember what he did to the media guy that said something about him, trying to get him fired. So you can't even say it's had this very, very authoritarian type way of doing things. Don't say nothing about me. With Jerry, just because you're a billionaire doesn't mean you're smarter than everybody. That's not the case at all. Now, as Dallas, when it comes to branding, yes. When it comes to marketing, absolutely. Winning football games, crickets. They're not going to do anything. So it's Jerry being Jerry. And like I said, when it's yours, can't nobody tell you what you can and can't do with it. But you're going to alienate Micah Parsons, who once again got drafted as an off-the-ball linebacker, moved to defensive end, and got better numbers as guys that played defensive end their whole life. He got better numbers than Max Crosby, who got re-signed. He's going to end up having better numbers than T.J. Watt, who's 30 years old. Myles Garrett is 31. I think Michael Parsons is 26. I don't get it. But, Micah, listen, man, if you don't want to be there no more, there's a team in Atlanta. We can't afford you. We can't afford $40 million a year. I don't know how we're going to pay. We're going to have to pay you in monopoly money. We ain't got $40 million a year to give you. But, no, I appreciate Micah Parsons not letting the guy that writes his checks think that I can't say nothing back. Because that's the new athlete we're dealing with now. Now, you got to have Micah Parsons type production and leverage to do that. Everybody can't do that. But if you are Micah, I appreciate CeeDee Lamb coming to say something about it, man. Just pay that man. Because, you can talk, what they say, what did Jay-Z say? Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Check the numbers. Check what I've done. You don't got to like it. But it's going to get done. But to me, this is not how you negotiate. Name a time that you do negotiations without, I don't know, the negotiator, that being your agent. The agent's outside, and no, we good. We talk about it in here. I mean, why I'm not. You want to know? Listen, good teams are good teams because they do good things. Great teams are great teams because they do great things. The bad teams are bad teams because they do bad things, dumb things, idiotic things. And there I can respect Jerry Jones for what he's meant to the league and what he does as an owner, but I can also critique him. He is the worst GM ever. I'm talking about ever. Because name another person was going to hire Brian Schottenheimer as their head coach. No other GM was going to do that. So, hey, man, it's Dallas. And listen, all there's going to be much to do about nothing come first game of the year. I guarantee you. Before first game, Michael Parsons is going to be the highest paid defensive player ever. And he's going to be out there just to get that L thrown on him because they're going to get whooped because they still can't stop the run down there. So, we'll see.
Yeah. There's to your point, there's a difference between, a head coach or even an owner, in a press conference, kind of calling out a player for on-field performance, saying, we need to be better at this position. But when you're talking and bringing in contracts and things that aren't happening on the field into that and bringing the world into it, it's just it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Simply.
He's trying to win the court of public opinion, and he lost it in the most spectacular way ever. I mean, listen, you got Lawrence Taylor out there telling Micah Parsons he needs to stop doing podcasts. Why? It's not affecting his play on the field. Mm-hmm. You have so many people trying to tell this man what to do. So I agree with Ben to kind of Micah not crunching under the pressure and all that, and still kind of speaking his mind. And he's doing it in the way he's supposed to do it. Jerry's doing it in the way you're not supposed to do it, and it's just weird watching the player set the precedent to what the owner should be doing, not the owner setting precedent to what the player. It's just we're definitely living in a Twilight Zone period of time because 30 years ago, so it had probably been the other way around, and everyone would agree with Jerry. But it's just the way we have media, the way that Mike is able to kind of go and get his side put out there. We're in a special time when it comes to things, and to Ben's point, props to Micah for standing up, and for Micah, I hope it gets done. I hope he makes sure they have absolutely no cap room and be able to do anything else moving forward, because I think this is a very beatable football team. They have had multiple fights during camp. I don't think that's a good thing, considering you got a new head coach and new regime coming in. So me being an Eagles fan, I'm going to say what I continue to say. My marshmallows are nice and roasted. I'm ready to eat. Thank you, Jerry Jones and Dallas Cowboys. I think you just made sure that Eagles are going to be the first team to repeat as divisional champs in over 15 years. So
Emmitt Smith gonna call Thomas and ask him what part of Italy he lived in, because he's getting out of America. Emmitt Smith is gone. He can't deal with it. He already said it. I'm tired of the fly Eagles fly. He gonna like, Thomas, listen, I might need you to help me with some of my benefits, but no. But call me on my Italian phone, because I'm leaving America. I'm done. Not doing no more.
Hey, we can hop on a Zoom anywhere on the internet connection.
Now, to get off the Dallas Cowboys issue, there was some news that broke this week that we want to talk about, and the NFLPA did make an announcement on who the replacement was from that guy who was taking everybody to strip clubs, and they announced the new interim executive director is David White. They made their little press release. Obviously, me and Ben already talked about this. We knew they were going to put somebody in place time being, but I hope when there's an actual vote at the end of the season, they do get a player-friendly, player-in-mind type of person to fill that role, because obviously things have been running amok as far as who was running things over there at the NFLPA. Ben, let me start with you. Obviously, your thoughts on Mr. White getting this temporary appointment.
I hope that David White is a bulldog. I hope that David White understands that, look, you don't have to emulate what hasn't been done. Just emulate what should be done. You have to always think about the present, the future, but most importantly, the past when you're sitting across from these. I don't like when they say that he has collectively bargained for other things. That ain't the NFL. He has helped other organization businesses. That ain't the NFL. They are going to bully him, because everybody else that was like, all right, what makes you different, David? And I'm not judging him. It's just, listen, I saw on this website called, I saw this Gridiron benefits. It says, your goal is our goals. That's what David need to be. Our goals need to be his goals. It ain't about notoriety. It ain't about trips. It sure ain't about strip clubs and all that other stuff. I don't know what these dudes was doing. It's about making sure that the players know we got somebody that's going to fight for us. You notice I didn't say you're going to get what you fought for, but you are going to fight. Most of these guys ain't fighting. They're being told, all right, this is our offer. If Jerry Jones would do a closed-door contract negotiation for Michael Parsons, do you think he cares about it, Mr. White? He don't even play football. Never played. Think about that. People don't get, if I don't even respect my product, which is my best player, Michael Parsons, and man, we got a guy named David White. And listen, you know what I'm saying? It don't matter what his name is. He got to be willing to fight. And if he's willing to do that, I'm going to support him because it's been too – I know who the worst GM is in football. That would be Jerry Jones. And the worst PA in football – the worst PA in sports is the NFL. It's awful. It shouldn't be that way. It's not awful from the top to bottom. It's awful from the top. The very top, they get bullied all the time. They get told what they're not going to take, and they signing NDAs. They got interested to be an owner. How was the former leader of the NFLPA trying to, as a part of a consulting firm that wants ownership, then lies and says you don't want ownership? Anyway, I just hope Mr. White understands he got some big shoes to fill. And we 5 years in of a 10-year collective bargaining agreement. That's never happened before, by the way. No one has ever signed a 10-year, right, collective bargaining agreement. That's 10 years. The world ain't gonna look the same in 10 years. Let alone, so they're like, So I hope that he goes to bat for those guys. And being a former player myself, I understand my role, just like I was telling Thomas, and making sure the other former players understand we got guys like Thomas in this organization out there. But if there's nothing to negotiate, we all go away. That's what people don't get. Do you think owners want to give anything to former players? No. You got to fight for that. They don't want to give you anything. They can be like, didn't we pay you? Yeah, well, my grandma also worked for Walmart. They gave her benefits when she stopped working there. They did? Yeah, okay, I guess. So they don't want to do those things, and I hope that, number one, we have no reason to doubt him because he hasn't done anything, but if he's anything like his predecessors, oh, my God, we in trouble. We'll see.
All right, Thomas, your thoughts going from Lloyd Howe taking the players' dime money, going to strip clubs, things of that nature, to now Mr. White here being now the interim executive director of the PA. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, maybe some questionable business expenses trying to write off there that didn't work out so well, but. To Ben's point, he actually brought up really relevant to our field with the assistant players with former disability benefits. That's one of the things that's constantly argued or lobbied for, rather, in that CBA. And they negotiate a laundry list of items that every time they try to negotiate with the owners, and tucked into that, which are the three different benefits and how those benefits will continue, whether the payments will continue at the same level. And to this point, they've never actually been reduced. The players have done a great job, the NFLPA in seeing that hasn't happened, but it is something that's constantly a question mark. And technically, if that 10-year CBA lapses, then the benefits go with it. I mean, the players would never let that happen, but it's kind of this constant give and take on these issues. And they usually end up kind of creating what that 10-year extension as a holdover period with some very minor adjustments that neither side is thrilled with, I think, at the end of the day.
I just hope, this guy doesn't set the bar as low as Mr. Powell did. And, hopefully he isn't just a yes man, somebody put in position. But like I said, like me and Ben talked on previous shows. I hope they just find a guy that's going to actually fight for the players, not just allow someone to say this is how it's going to go, this is how things work, and this is the only way it goes. And that's not how negotiating gets done, especially on the players' behalves. So I just hope moving forward that they don't get a yes man put in place, and we'll see what Mr. White is throughout the season, if he's able to hold that position or not. But definitely can't be any worse than what we just seen leaving the higher ups there over at the NFLPA. So, but on to another note that's even going to play into that. I don't know if you guys have seen, but now the Red Zone, the NFL Network, is now being bought out by ESPN. There's going to be another backside of that, where now the NFL is going to actually own 10% equity into Disney. I think there's a little bit more give and take that's going on that people don't understand. I'm not overly a fan of ESPN going in there. Obviously, Mr. Goodell's, basically, puts his statement out there, his thoughts on the new purchase that was made by Disney and their involvement in it. I'm not overly a fan of ESPN kind of taking over the rights to the NFL Network and Red Zone and stuff like that. Fans are already joking that hey, we're going to see a whole lot more commercials now, and I mean, we're probably are going to see some more commercials and things of that nature. But it's an interesting time, right?
Yeah, it is, but it shouldn't be something that we shouldn't be surprised by it. Here's why. Remember when you could just get your cable whoever provides your cable network, and you could see the games. Sometimes you might have a blackout game. You can't even find the games no more. Is that on what? Oh, it's over there. Oh, it's on Thursday night is over here. Sunday is over there. Monday is over there. It's like it's almost like
you're gonna need Peacock, Amazon Prime, NFL Network.
Yeah, you need 6 TVs at one time just to get the games. This ain't even. You can see something like this coming. And look, we live in. People talk about capitalism, man. Now, what about monopolizing stuff? People do not want to share. I want all of it. I want it all funneled through here. I remember, this is nothing against Fanatics. I remember when teams had like sports shops, and now it's all Fanatics. We do it all. We do every single thing for these teams.
Did you see the sideline hats? Speaking of Fanatics, did you see the sideline hats for the team?
No.
Oh my God! It looks like somebody just put like a rubber sticker with the team logo in the middle of the hat, and it's the team color. I'm like, what is that?
Listen. You got to be able to cut costs somewhere in the creative department. And look, y'all got to figure it out. We got to do certain. No, it's the National Football League. You would think the biggest sporting league in America, the most watched sport and loved sport in America, is making so much money that owners / GMs don't even want to pay their top players. You think they would? People say, how much is enough? They'll say more. They want more and more and more. And ESPN, Wild World of Sports down there in Orlando. I mean, they this is not a surprise. And once again, this is 2025. But come 2030 and moving forward, they coming for every network that has football, not named ESPN. ESPN said we coming for because we got the dollars. And when people say we would never sell, they say how much? How much? Wait a minute, hold on. Let's talk about this. So, what they say, money talks, BS runs a marathon. So I'm not surprised by this. Roger Goodell is the most hated, commissioner. I didn't say he's the worst. The worst, that would be Rob Manfred. That would be baseball. He know it. Rob Manfred knows it. He knows he's the worst. I'm just saying it's the times that we're in. But hey, man, if you got a network and you ain't got billions for TV deals and sponsorships, and you might, remember all that talent over that FS1, where they at? Gone. I mean, swept them all out. So it's these type of platforms. Excuse me. It's great because you want to have your own. Thomas said, I don't want to work for someone. I want to work with people. We're going to call it, we're going to call it Gridiron Benefits. And I'm going to get me, doctors over here and people to work with, because having your own, make it so that I control how we move. If it's not yours, you might want to check your email, because we might be out of here. And that's the unfortunate part about the world we live in now, man. It's not capitalism, people. It's unfeathered. It's no cap on it. They just want more and more. How big of a yacht can you what? I'm just saying. So we'll see. We will see.
What about you, Thomas? How are you feeling about this? ESPN is going to be taking over a lot more chunk of what the NFL is doing. Obviously, it looks like they're going to be partners in way more ways than just licenses and having control over games. How are you feeling on this deal with ESPN?
Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, the only impact it really has on me is where do I go to watch the games, right? And every year there's some news. There's a different streaming service or games are going. Whether it was NFL Sunday Ticket jumping off Direct TV to YouTube, and how are you going to get it? I mean, sometimes you got to do a little research a week or two before the season to make sure, or sometimes day of. But usually once that Thursday night opening kickoff rolls around, I got my ducks in a row, got my streaming services lined up, and if ESPN ends up buying them all out, and then all we got to do is log on to the ESPN app to watch, wouldn't be the end of the world either. But I've had enough with input in the two-factor authorization and the
trying to tell you,
log into my cable to show it on my TV and my I think we've all had enough of that. But
on your phone, like get the QR code, all that craziness is.
That's it.
What a game,
my friends. Different times, we. It's not like how it used to be, where we just turn on the clicker on the tube, change it to channel 6, 10, 29, whatever. It's everything's digitalized. Even more so. Like I don't know if people notice it. Like for our combat sports fan, this is the first time since 1940 that boxing is not going to be televised on terrestrial TV anywhere. It's not going to be on Showtime. It's not going to be on ESPN. It's not going to be on any of these things. So we know that how we are consuming our sports is completely going digital, streaming platforms, things of that nature. So I'm not surprised with it, but I'm also not happy with it. I just seen what happened with the UFC and ESPN, that obviously Dana White felt that their production team was so bad that he had to find somewhere else to go, that he could not do another deal with them. If a guy that's looking for money left and right is saying, I'm not going to take your money because your production is that bad. Now, to the ESPN's defense, we know they could do football all day long and twice on Monday, right? Because that's how good that Monday Night Football has been with ESPN. So I'm not gonna put them in that realm, but maybe that's why maybe they were self-sabotaging, because they knew this deal was coming. I don't know, but it should be an interesting time. Hopefully, we see some of those people that do have jobs over at the Red Zone and the NFL Network kind of get brought over to ESPN and have their contracts renewed. Is kind of the only thing. Is some of that stuff will probably change, but other than that. Hopefully it's a good experience for athlete, fan, and everyone in between.
Yeah. Well, if I turn on Red Zone and don't see Scott Hansen, they messed something up.
He did. And Scott Hansen did say he's coming back. Right? He did say he did get. I think he got his contract renewed. There are certain names and voices that they become household names. And Scott Hansen did. I think he did say he's coming back. Because the Red Zone, man, I'm trying to tell you, that's how I keep up with the game sometimes. Like, what you mean, man? I'm just watching the highlights. Dude. You think I'm at the bar because I want these wings? No, I'm at the bar so I can watch the game. Like, could y'all put it on this game? Because I only got this at the house, and I'm not paying another $150 just so I can watch my Falcons lose. I'm not doing that.
For that much money, you might as well drive down and actually watch the game.
And I will say, Mercedes-Benz is nice, and the food is good and very, very reasonable. Something better be nice because it'll be like,
oh no, the food prices got jacked up here this past year. It's like $17 for a thing of Chickies and Pete's fries and cheese. So I'm not happy with that. So.
There's a Chick-fil-A in that stadium though.
There is. There are Chick-fil-A's in the stadium, all around the stadium. And once again, I will say this though: the Chick-fil-A service at Mercedes-Benz, it ain't as good as when you drive up to the restaurant. Now, y'all gonna have to get that right. Because, I'm used to good service, man, the Chick-fil-A. Let's get right, man.
And as we're talking about star power, I got to bring this up here. Shedeur Sanders was the person of note to talk about in this past NFL draft. Everyone was wondering, 5 quarterbacks in the room. How is Shedeur going to get snaps? Well, this is how he gets snaps, because he's named the starter for the first preseason game there down in Cleveland as Kenny Pickett's dealing with injuries, Dylan Gabriel's dealing with some injuries. He hasn't been looking too good during preseason or training camp. I don't know why anyone keeps up with training camp numbers, because that's how you get better, is through training camp. But what are your guys' initial thoughts? You think this sells the sign that Shedeur Sanders could very arguably be quarterback number 2 coming into the season?
This is giving the best shot. I will say this about Shedeur. He deals with a lot of unfair criticism because all he's done is get drafted. People keep going back to the draft process, what did or didn't happen, what should or shouldn't have been said or whatever. He hasn't had a lot of reps with the first team. Now you finna throw him out there with the first team. But I think he's going to navigate it well. I think that I have never seen Tom Brady didn't get this much attention even when he got drafted at pick 199. People go to Tom Brady. No, Tom Brady became that. He didn't get this much fanfare. I think if anybody is built to deal with an adverse situation, even thrown into the fire, it is Shedeur Sanders. He's not going to complain. He's not going to point the finger. He's not going to say, woe is me. He's going to go out there and play. Because let me say this. We are talking about the Cleveland Browns because of one dude, and that is Shedeur. We would not care about Cleveland. Never been to Cleveland. Don't got family in Cleveland. You're not going to Cleveland. And because we got this young man who is polarized, who sold 200. Well, last time we checked, it was $250 million in jersey sales, and he got $14 million. That's going to go up because we're going to be watching him. I'm rooting for him, and I think too, most guys in this situation, they fighting for their football life. I think Shedeur is just a guy. Kenny Pickett, we'll see what happens. Joe Flacco, he's still in the league. Dylan Gabriel, they said he hasn't looked good. If Dylan Gabriel was a quarterback you really wanted, you wouldn't have drafted Shedeur. Who you think you fooling? You drafted 2 quarterbacks in the same draft, but Dylan is the guy we wanted. Lies. I don't believe that. So I just think that all eyes gonna be on Shedeur, and I'm gonna see how he handles it. Love the fact that he said he didn't want his dad coming to camp because he want to make sure that my dad got something to see, not a couple of reps. But from all I've heard from him, all I've seen, he's looked good. He's made plays when called upon. But I want to see what the viewership is going to be when he steps out there, even in preseason. How many millions of people are going to be watching Shedeur Sanders? I bet it's going to be crazy.
What about you, Thomas? You surprised that he gets the week 1 preseason start?
I don't know about surprise. It's definitely, it's drawn my attention to a preseason game. I quite honestly would. I know I said I watch more football than anyone past 10 years, but not the preseason. But this is something I will tune into. And, I'm pulling for Shedeur. I loved watching, him at Colorado, just theater. And they, in an impressive way, right? He did things athletically that, led to him being drafted. And yeah, maybe he fell because of XYZ, but he's still playing in the National Football League. Like that's extreme talent. And he's starting game 1 preseason. Now, my hope is that the Browns have done this for football reasons and not just to sell tickets and bring in publicity. You take, if you're Shedeur, obviously you get on the field any way you can. But my hope is that he has a legitimate, and fair chance to compete for whatever position it is, whether it's starter, backup, et cetera. And he's not just there to sell tickets and bring attention to the team, because he's, what he did in college, he's got every opportunity to excel and exceed.
Yeah, I think he does well. I agree with some points there. I think it is kind of a publicity thing to kind of sell some preseason tickets and get some revenue otherwise, but I also think it's so they can get a real good look at him. You do have the fact that you have multiple other quarterbacks on your roster that are a little banged up right now. So why not give the kid his due? Like, okay, if you're the man, go show us you're the man. So I'm definitely pro Shador. I cannot wait to see what he does with this opportunity. Obviously, being out there with the ones week 1 preseasons is going to be must-watch TV. So this should be fun. Obviously, I think that he's going to do his thing. So getting down to it, last 5 minutes, looking at the ticker here. Again, real quick, putting this out there for everyone. Guys, make sure you're heading over to Gridiron Benefits, showing them some love. If you have some former players on your social media platforms, tell them to give them a follow. Here's the QR code and things of that nature. Thomas, before we wrap this one up, and any kind of parting shots, last words you want to say?
Well, I mean, again, we greatly appreciate the time and, the promotional assistance there. One thing, there are a lot of guys that played in the NFL. A lot of guys know people that played in the NFL, that have been out of the league for years. These benefits guys are eligible for them more than they think. And just so you know, if you're an NFL player that's played, if you played, one down, and you are eligible to apply for the line of duty orthopedic benefit, the neurocognitive benefit. You can apply for that for 4 years, the line of duty, 7 years, the neurocognitive. And then if you're a vested player where you've had 3 credited seasons or more, the statute for those benefits, the neurocognitive, it extends until your retirement age. And there's a total and permanent, which extends 15 years plus at full benefits. So, I mean, there's a lot out there, especially guys that have been out of the league for a while. Don't think that your time is expired. If you picked up that contact info, you can DM us on Instagram. Our email is on our website. I think Stephen put my email up there as well. There's a phone number on our website. Most guys, we end up communicating via my cell phone, but feel free to reach out any of those ways. Just a simple message on our Instagram to us, and you'll get a response from myself. And the only people that the players talk to are myself, my partner, Dean, and we've got a terrific team in place. But we don't pawn anyone off. I think any player that we've helped would say that they dealt with us throughout the entire process. So I think that's important, and there's no fee or anything to talk to anyone. We'll hop on a Zoom with you, look at your eligibility, years you played, talk to you, see what might make sense, and see if there's something we can help you with.
Dan, last minute thoughts.
Been always a pleasure being on with you, Stephen Thomas. It's been a pleasure meeting you, sir. We definitely gonna be working with each other. Here, I think it's some. I'm just thinking of ways me and you could just partner together. You and your entire organization, by the way. I think I could be of assistance to you guys. I'll definitely talk to you about that when we get done. But man, look, we on here talking. We only talking about we got Tom. We got 2 Florida Gators on here, baby. This ain't gonna happen often.
Chomp, chomp.
You know what I'm saying? This ain't gonna happen often. So when I see another Florida Gator, it's always for that. Listen, you can listen from Boston. You root for real teams like the Celtics, right, and the Red Sox and New England, and you root for Florida. And then I get my Atlanta Braves, and then we don't want to talk about my other sports teams. We're gonna leave those other sports teams out of this conversation. This is a family show. We want to keep it positive. But Steven, you know how it is, man. It's always a pleasure being on with you, man. Listen, man, make sure you love your loved ones, man. Make sure you tell them you love them, man, and be like Steven. Be a good son to your moms and your dads, especially if you still got them. God will bless you for it, no doubt.
Yeah.
And thank you for the kind words, Ben, and season ticket holder for the Gators, by the way, in my time there.
Okay.
But Stephen, I did want to say too, I caught your show last week when you had Vince Papale on, and he had a quote: "You get hurt, you retire, or you get retired." And the last one, you get retired, kind of gets some laugh, but it's brutally true, and really connects and resonated with what we do. So I appreciate terrific content and love listening to your show last week with him on. And again, appreciate you having me on.
It's always a pleasure. As we're down to the last 20 seconds or so, another fun one in the books. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. For myself, Ben and Thomas, see you guys some other time, my friends. Peace out.